Good morning, everyone. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Calling the roll for the Monday, October 30th, 2023 Board of Control meeting. It is 11:01 a.m. We have Councilmember Meredith Turner.
Here.
Councilmember Dale Miller.
Here.
Trevor Meckler serving as an alternate for Purnell Jones Jr.
Here.
Melanie Say serving as an alternate for Mike Dever. Here. Catherine Gallagher serving as an alternate for Chris Renee, County Executive.
Here.
Mike Chambers, Interim Fiscal Officer, serving as Chairman.
Here.
Paul Porter.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. Next on the agenda is the review and approval of the minutes from October 23rd. I will make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Turner. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The minutes are approved. Any public comment?
No public comment.
Let's go to our first item.
First item, BC 2023-675, Department of Development, recommending an award and submitting a contract with Baldwin Wallace University in the amount not to exceed $24,500 for economic research and analysis services in connection with the 5-year economic development plan for the period November 1st, 2023 through October 31st, 2024.
Good morning, Laura Sims from the Department of Development, and this item is for a contract with Baldwin Wallace to do data research for us. We've already had a contract with them to do it for the last couple years, and a lot of it because we don't have staff available to do this kind of data analytic research that we need to do. One of the reports that they did for us was the impact of economic, leisure, and hospitality in the hospitality sector in Cuyahoga County. I have a copy of that report, which I can leave with you, Cheryl, and then email it to you if anybody's interested in looking at that.
Is that the report that Paul Hertig emailed that was given to council with the
Did he
response
already
to
give it to you?
questions?
Okay, good, because he didn't copy me on the email, so I wasn't sure that if you'd got it. So I wanted to make sure that I had it here. So if you've already got it, that's fabulous. So that's one of the things that this contract is going to continue to do, that sort of research. And in addition, so we put this out for bid. And we got 2 responses, one from Cleveland State and the other one from and Baldwin Wallace. So this is one of the contracts. We'll have another one that's coming because we awarded both of the ones that we got. So they'll be doing different sorts of research for us on that. So.
Okay, thank you, Laura. Are there any questions from the board? Seeing no questions, I will make the motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Miller. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2023-676, Department of Housing and Community Development, recommending an award and submitting an agreement with Cuyahoga County Planning Commission in the amount not to exceed $150,000 for planning activities and technical assistance for environmental reviews and various competitive municipal grant program project initiatives to eliminate blight in Cuyahoga County for the period September 1st, 2023 through August 31st, 2025.
Good morning, Laura Sims again for the Department of Housing and Community Development. This is a contract with the county's planning commission to provide technical assistance. They've done this for us for the last couple years. However, we have expanded the amount of the contract with them because we've seen an increase in the services that they've been providing to us because there have been more houses that they've had to inspect for lead and other various things, and then they've been helping more with the planning for keeping things in the targeted areas for the muni grants.
Okay, Laura, thank you again. Are there any questions from the board? Seeing no questions, I will make the motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Turner. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Next item?
Thank you.
Next item, BC 2023-677, Department of Sustainability submitting an amendment to contract number 1913 with Solar United Neighbors for residential solar co-op management services for the period November 1st, 2021 through October 31st, 2023 to extend the time period to October 31st, 2025 to change the terms effective November 1st, 2023 and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $90,000.
Thanks, Mike Foley, Department of Sustainability. So this is a contract amendment with Solar United Neighbors. They run our solar co-op in the county. This is for a 2-year extension. It add $90,000 into it to continue running the co-op. They will also be working on that. We've got some money from an energy efficiency conservation bond or community development block grant. I'm sorry. to work with 5 school districts to do rooftop solar on 5 high schools. So it would include that scope of work change.
Thank you, Mr. Foley. Are there any questions from the board? Councilwoman,
Yes,
please.
Mr. Foley, can you tell us where these homeowners, which municipalities, which districts or school districts?
The school districts are in Euclid, Maple Heights, East Cleveland, Cuyahoga Heights, and Cleveland. And then the homes that we've worked in are throughout the county. So we'll do information sessions at different libraries and city halls throughout the county. And so the homes that we've worked with are throughout the county, pretty spread out.
Other additional, Councilman, please.
How much money is in the Sustainability Projects Fund, and where does that money come from?
Right now, there's probably close to 200,000 in it. The money came from, it was a loan given out to Lincoln Electric for the turbines that they put up years ago, and Lincoln Electric paid those dollars back to the county. And so we used it. It was at one point close to about $800,000, and over the last, 3, 4, or 5 years, we've whittled it down. Have about $200,000 left in it.
Okay. Any additional questions? Seeing none, I will make the motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Turner. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Next item?
Next item, BC 2023-678, Court of Common Pleas, Juvenile Court Division, submitting an amendment to a master contract with various providers for interpretation and translation services for the period January 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2023, for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $140,500 as listed for items A and B on the printed agenda.
Good morning, Chair Brown, Juvenile Court. This is a joint contract with several courts, but this is for general and juvenile court to be able to fund the remainder of the year. There was an advanced question about the allocation of funds. It's a master contract with Crossthreads and Cleveland Hearing and Speech Center, but Cleveland Hearing and Speech Center is not being allocated any funds because, as far as we know, they can't meet the new Ohio Supreme Court requirements for translators.
Okay, thank you. Are there questions from the board?
Yes, to follow up, what Supreme Court requirements is it that they're not able to meet?
I'm not sure on the specifics of it. I could get with our legal to see exactly which requirement they can't meet, but they sent us an email in January when it came out or became effective that they did not have anybody at their facility that met the requirements. Further, we just released an RFP and they did not apply, so I don't think they're also interested in working with the court any longer either.
Okay, so I'd like to know.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Any additional questions? Seeing none, I will make the motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Miller. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2023-679. Sheriff's Department recommending an award on RQ 13150 and submitting a purchase order with Hall Public Safety Outfitters, also known as Hall Public Safety Company, in the amount not to exceed $148,204.61 for the build-out of 10 new Ford Police Interceptors to be built out at the Harvard Garage.
Good morning, Karen DiCarlo for the Sheriff's Department. This purchase order is with Hall Public Safety for the build-outs of 10 new Ford Interceptors that were received at the end of August.
Okay, thank you, Karen. Are there questions from the board? Mr. Mackler, please.
Just a follow-up from the advanced questions, it was stated that one of the vendors indicated that they didn't bid because our bid specs were requesting the installation be performed on the county site. So the vendor comes to the Justice Center? Or
To the Harvard Garage.
Okay. Is there a reason why we require that, that they come to the county site versus being able to potentially open it up to other vendors that might want to do it at their location?
Yes, Lieutenant Kozel for the Sheriff's Department. We have that in there due to the fact that we actually are on hand during the installation for those last-second modifications that might need to be done. For this bid out, there's new MDTs, new laptops that are getting put into. So, you know, those contacts right there with me, Matt, our sergeant that's in charge of motor pool, those guys are actually on scene while they're doing the build-outs throughout the day.
Any final questions? Seeing none, I will make the motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Mr. McAleer. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Thank you. Next item.
Next, item BC 2023-680, Department of Health and Human Services, Office of the Director, submitting an RFP exemption which will result in an award recommendation to United Way of Greater Cleveland in the amount not to exceed $277,333 for community resource navigation and med refer services to residents of Cuyahoga County for the period January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2024, and submitting a contract with said RFP exemption.
Good morning, Marcos Cortez with Health and Human Services. United Way 211 will provide community resource navigation and med refer services to residents of Cuyahoga County. Navigation services are designed to help the public find, understand, and access community resources in their time of need. Additionally, the provider will maintain a specialized service, med refer, for the purpose of connecting 211 callers to free and low-cost medication.
Okay, thank you, Marcos. Questions from the board? Seeing none, I will make the motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Miller. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2023-681, Department of Health and Human Services, Office of the Director, submitting an RFP exemption which will result in an award recommendation to the Center for Community Solutions in the amount not to exceed $300,000 for operational support and fiscal agent services on behalf of the AIDS Funding Collaborative for the period January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2025, and submitting a contract with said RFP exemption.
Good morning again, Marcos Cortez. This is, again, the contract with the Center for Community Solutions for the AIDS Funding Collaborative.
Thank you, Marcos. Questions from the board? Seeing no questions, I will make the motion to approve. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilwoman Turner. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Next item?
Next item, BC 2023-682, Department of Health and Human Services, Office of Child Support Services, submitting an RFP exemption which will result in an award recommendation to Quadient Incorporated in the amount not to exceed $19,089 for a state contract purchase of one IX9A series mailing system, various accessories and supplies, and 1-year meter rental, and submitting a purchase order with said RFP exemption.
Good morning, Ramon Caldas, Health and Human Services for the Office of Child Support. This is a mail machine for the Office of Child Support Services. It's a new machine that's replacing an 8-year-old machine that's owned by the agency. Typically, these machines last about 5 years, so the one we're replacing has exceeded its expected lifespan. The machine will seal, weigh, and apply the correct amount of postage to the outgoing mail. The reason why we're replacing this one is the increased cost of maintenance and the difficulty in sourcing replacement parts. The procurement for this was done through state term, and the funding is Health and Human Service levy, but it's reimbursable at 66% via Title 4D.
Okay, thank you. Are there questions from the board?
Yes, what happens to the machine that's being replaced?
The agency owns it, so until the new machine gets delivered, they'll still continue to use it, but at that point, we'll figure out how to dispose of it.
Okay.
There isn't really any market value for the machine.
There's what?
There isn't really any market value that's left.
No market value? No, okay.
Any additional questions? Seeing none, I'll make the motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Miller. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2023-683, Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Children and Family Services, and Division of Senior and Adult Services, submitting an amendment to a master contract with various providers for thermal and chemical bedbug remediation services for the period January 1st, 2022 through December 31st, 2023, to extend the time period to December 31st, 2024, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $175,000 as listed for items A and B on the printed agenda.
Good morning, Marcos Cortez. Again, this is our exterminating contract with both Terminex and Speed for bed bug extermination for both DCFS and DSAS.
Thank you, Marcos. Are there questions from the board? Seeing no questions, I will make the motion to approve. Is there a second? seconded by Councilwoman Turner. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item's approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2023-684, Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Senior and Adult Services, submitting an RFP exemption which will result in award recommendation to the Center for Community Solutions in the amount not to exceed $20,000 for fiscal agent and management services, including preparing and releasing an issue brief and year-end report for the Council on Older Persons for the period January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2024, and submitting a contract with said RFP exemption.
Marcos Cortez again. This is a contract with the Center for Community Solutions for the support of the operations of the Council on Older Persons, the COOP as we call it, and to support the research and needs of older adults in Cuyahoga County. The COOP is an advisory committee of community solutions. The mission of the COOP is to promote a better understanding of aging and address the issues and concerns of older persons in Cuyahoga County through a citizen-led needs assessment, policy development, and community education and advocacy.
Okay, Marcos, thank you. Are there any questions from the board? Seeing no questions, I will make the motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Paul Porter. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved. Next item?
Next item, BC 2023-685, Department of Health and Human Services, Community Initiatives Division, Office of Reentry, submitting an RFP exemption which will result in award recommendation to YMCA of Greater Cleveland and the amount not to exceed $337,200 for transitional housing and case management services for 45 ex-offenders for the Open Door Housing Program, effective upon contract signatures of all parties through December 31st, 2023, and submitting a contract with said RFP exemption.
Yes, good morning. Fred Bolleton with the Office of Reentry. The Open Door Transitional Housing Program began in, I believe, 2010. It still serves as a model nationally. It was the first in the country to have a public-private partnership between the Public Housing Authority, CMHA, and the YMCA, and funding from the Office of Reentry to provide transitional housing. The key to transitional housing from incarceration is that it is not just temporary, but it is transitional into permanent housing. And the partnership with CMHA allows people who successfully complete the Open Door program to get priority permanent placement in CMHA. Right now, there's over a 3-year waiting list for people who just apply to get into CMHA housing. People who are in the transitional program jump to the top of the waiting list. This contract is primarily to provide the facilities for the transitional housing. They have a rental agreement with CMHA, but the apartments come totally unfurnished. The furniture after 13 years, which they don't buy the highest quality furniture, has begun to deteriorate. They need to replace a lot of that. Now the contract is starting so late because there was the law department did their due diligence, and it required extensive research as to what items could be purchased with county funds. So it's a large contract in a short time, but most of that is for the actual furnishings for these apartments.
Okay, thank you, Fred. Are there any questions from the board? Seeing no questions, I will make the motion to approve the item. Is there a second? Seconded by Councilwoman Turner. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The item is approved. Next item.
Moving on to consent agenda items, BC 2023-686 through BC 2023-687. PO number 23004637, listed under BC 2023-687, is being held at the request of the department.
Okay, Mr. Mackler, please.
On the one skill up item, I just want to make sure, it looks like it was work that was done anywhere between 3 and 5 years ago, and we're paying the bill now?
That's correct. We had so what happened with this particular issue is that the vendor did not invoice us, And then we had requested invoices from them several times. We have documentation to that effect. They had their general counsel get in touch with us about not paying, and we provided the information saying we requested it and that it was outside of the period. I guess they got in touch with their council person who asked us to move it forward with ours, and since it was stuff that happened, this is why we're paying that. Now, I can tell you that we are transitioning to move this out of Department of Development, and it's going to, the Skill Up program's going to Ohio Mean Jobs. So we'll probably only have like 2 more of these on the next agenda for this. And we submitted, sent letters to everyone who had any outstanding invoices back in in September, and gave them 8 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks to submit their final bill. So we said, if we don't get your final bill by October 20th, we're not paying it. I mean, you've had that, and the contracts actually themselves say that if you don't submit your invoices within 4 months of the completion, that's the time period. So this one was kind of a one-off sort of a thing, and legal got involved in it, and we're working with them to get that paid. But again, we have sent letters out to everybody saying you have to get it in after the 20th. We're not paying it, so we should have everything hopefully paid by the end of the year and the program transitioned.
Laura, do you know how many vendors there are that still need to invoice us that we're waiting on?
I don't have the total number off of the top of my head, and honestly, I do not understand why they aren't invoicing us. I mean, if it's money that they're supposed to receive, and we have sent them letters, asking them to invoice us, and they haven't, I don't know. My guess off the top of my head is it may be about 15, different ones, because some of these go back for a couple years too, so I don't know. I do know the original Skill Up 1.01 or something, that some of the requirements that were a lot, so some vendors just didn't want to participate, so they may have started and then just decided to, forget it. So I don't know particularly why we're having an issue with it, but we won't be having an issue after the end of the year.
Okay.
Or at least it won't be our problem anymore.
Any additional questions on this item or the rest of the agenda? Consent agenda? No? Okay, I will make a motion to approve today's consent agenda items as listed. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Today's consent agenda item is approved. Moving on to other business.
We have one item under other business, time-sensitive, mission-critical, BC 2023-688, Department of Health and Human Services, Community Initiatives Division, Office of Homeless Services, recommending an award to YWCA of Greater Cleveland in the amount not to exceed $24,600 for incentive payments in connection with the deconcentration of women residing at the Norma Her Women's Shelter located at 2227 Payne Avenue, Cleveland, for the period October 16, 2023 through December 31st, 2023.
Good morning again. Marcos Cortez with Health and Human Services on behalf of the Office of Homeless Services. Again, the women's shelter is running above capacity, and this incentive program is designed to provide funding for women who can find alternate housing, such as staying with a friend or staying with a family member, to reduce those numbers, the daily census.
Thank you, Marcos. Are there any questions from the board?
Yeah. Go ahead.
So I was wondering, are you providing a stipend?
I believe it has to be cash.
It has to be cash. Do you know that amount? Is it per day?
It's a $600 incentive.
And how effective has this been in the past in encouraging people to find alternatives?
I believe there was some numbers sent out, I believe in the advanced questions. I don't have that. I thought they had offered this in the past, and there was a 66%, I think, effective rate.
One more question. Do we know that they're actually using the money for shelter, or?
I don't believe the money is for shelter. It's just to provide an incentive for them to find alternate shelter.
Any additional questions? Mr. Mackler, please.
So Marcus, they get $600. Is there a timetable of that we don't ask them to come back in order to keep the population down? Is it $600 if you don't stay there tonight and then you can come tomorrow? Can you talk a little bit of how that works?
I believe it, have to be out for 90 days.
It looks like it was 351 incentive payments based on.
Okay, board, members, are there any additional questions on this item? Seeing none, then I will make the motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Councilwoman Turner. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The item is approved.
Thank you.
Any other business?
No other business?
Any public comment?
No public comment?
I'll make a motion to adjourn. Is there a second? Seconded by Miss Melanie Say. All in favor to adjourn, say aye. Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.